If I'm tweeting about this, do I just use your personal, or do you guys have a GameMarx Twitter?
GameMarx.
Yeah.
GameMarx is the Twitter, and then GameMarx.com/live is a quick link to the Justin TV feed, which I just turned on.
GameMarx.com/live. Oh, sweet. It's like all in a wrapper and stuff. Alright, if I mute... Okay, good. I don't want to hear myself twice. So now you're muted and I can still see you. With a delay, of course.
That's the problem. I'm logging in your Firefox. I know, and you're already signed in, so I just signed in.
I got feedback while at DevLink of like, is there any way you could show us your monitors and what you're looking at? Because they thought one of the person that came with DevLink thought we were like watching the game up on the monitor that we were talking about.
Really?
And I was like, no, that's a bunch of boring audio levels and the live feed stream and.
I guess they probably thought that because we've got the box art up there, or you've got the box art up there, so you just assume that we're facing different directions. Strange that Charlie isn't in there yet, because he was asking about it today. Made me think of Chad. It's CB Chef. The drunk tweets comment. The one where he says about the woman is in bed, the dogs are asleep. I'm gonna goof off and then maybe drunk tweets.
No, I'm a fan of dubstep. That's don't need good music. Also a fan of Lady Sovereign. I'll just throw that out there too.
And he has his daughters watching it too. Showed it to them and now they want to watch it.
Don't deny Lady Sovereign.
I need to listen to this just so I can say I've listened to
To
it.
Lady Sovereign?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the kind of thing that I don't think everyone will be into.
Well, okay, so the thing was like that started when I was on the kick and it's like, hey, I want to listen, I want to hear some like British rap. And I got linked to like some good, nothing wrong with them artists.
Nothing wrong with them artists. That's not.
I mean, hey, they were good rap artists, but the problem is like, as an American, if you want to hear British rap, you want to hear the accent. That's what it's all about. But you're probably not the good artists, but you want the accent to come through, and that'd be entertaining. So that's Lady Sovereign.
Yes.
My friend at work, his wife is from England, and she's like a grammar major too. And I came in the next day, and I told him, I'm like, I started listening to some British rap, and he's like, not Lady Sovereign. I'm like, yes, how did you know? He's like, my wife fucking hates her.
Hey, do you guys want to hear a dubstep joke?
Yes.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
There.
Bob.
Babu.
Bob wob 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 wob.
It's kind of like the I've seen a couple people post this online, like, hey, do you guys know that dubstep song? It goes wub 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 wub.
You've seen? Is it XKCD that did the love song? Or maybe it was, I don't know if it was Oatmeal or one of the comics I read. It was like a 3-penny, and it's like, you should write your girl a love song. He's like, you're right, I'll sing it to her. And he's just going, wub, 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 wub. Like, what the hell is that? Dubstep.
Oh. Twitter did not update.
Twitter did not update? Did it deny? I got one out. I retweeted Vicinity Games.
Yep.
Oh!
Because he had all the nice links already set for me.
I bet I know why it didn't update. Because I switched. I was on 3G and then I switched it. I retweeted it from the.
No, it shows you retweeting.
Okay.
TweetDeck verifies it.
All right. I just did, but the problem I ran into is I clicked retweet on the GameMarx thread or on the. Well,
I don't know if they're getting this. If this is going out, probably not.
What is this?
Mad sent a video.
I'm gonna kill your cat. Especially if you like the big puppy.
Cats are jerks.
Not my baby. I would so much hate the baby.
Oh, wow. It's a real life Captain Dubstep. They went straight to the movie. They skipped the game and just made the movie.
From here, this looks like an ad for something.
It's like dubstep Power Rangers. Sorry, Stags, we'll be done in a minute.
Just not making for good entertainment.
Nope.
Blame Matt. He linked the video.
They cross the streams. Oh, that's cute.
That was excellent. Oh, well. Alright, let's get everything shut down here and get ready to go. Okay, anything? Oh, I didn't check the camera angle. Are we good there?
I can see you guys.
Yeah, we look like we're all on screen. I could probably...
I'm this way.
I'm waving too. You just can't see me. Just tell everybody I'm there. I'm just off camera.
We need to work that out. We need to work a way to get Skype video on there, but that probably means leaving Justin TV. We need to check out some of the others.
Yeah.
Ustream we had streaming problems with, but they would let us do that. And then the
See, I don't know what it
live stream, I think.
So some of my friends use Blog TV, and like they've done things where two people are logged into two different Blog TV accounts, and they'll do sort of a picture-in-picture thing. You could probably switch between. That's the only experience I
Ustream
have.
had something like that too. The problem we had with Ustream was it was bad on the viewers. So.
It's a new glass of chocolate milk.
Yeah, I'm drinking chocolate milk.
Yes, but they think it's the same glass from last week.
Let them think
Didn't
that.
you finish it last week? I mean,
It's on the video. Are you ready, Dylan?
sure.
All right, we'll do our ad and then we'll get rolling here. Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Mike.
You know, Dylan, we've not been doing these Sunburn ads that long, have we?
No, we have not.
And we've already talked about new features that got added to the Sunburn engine since we started.
Yep.
We've been doing this for, what, 2 months?
Guess so. It's
Guess what?
time has flown.
Time has flown, but guess what? It's time for another new features edition of the Sunburn ad.
Okay.
They have added transparencies. I'm just going to come out and say, I don't know what in the hell this is. I just thought you set the opacity down a little bit and it became transparent, but apparently you can do transparencies, forward and deferred rendering, and I'm going to tell you, I don't understand what the hell that means yet either, but I am trying my best. But if that means something to you, they added that. Now, what I do understand that they added, player control and collision sliding. So essentially, you need to wrap your inputs, especially if you're going to go to multiple devices. Like you're going to go to a PC,
Right.
You're going to do a couple other Xbox, that kind of thing. And they essentially allow you, in the framework now, is the option of using some nice wrapped input controllers that will give you predefined actions so that, you know, your player input is things like jump, run, move left, instead of like, you know, D-pad left, and then if you want to change D-pad left to be, you know, say a thumbstick, you know, you might have that code all over the place.
Better
You change
integration between the controller and...
Yeah, so this gives them a... and this also ties in, the new controller interface ties in to where you can drop items into the editor now that are player controlled. So before you're kind of loading up models that are in your game and then applying properties to them with the Sunburn editor, and now apparently there's some crazy voodoo that you drop in an object and you just flip the switch and say like, this is player controlled, and it'll use those Sunburn controller objects to map the inputs to some default behavior for that object. Haven't got to play with that myself, but that's just another thing that was added since we've started. So they're on pace right now. They've added something at least once a month since we've been doing these ads.
Yep.
I do want to give a shout out to say that if you are in the Seattle area during Game Fest, they will have a developer gathering. Let's see, what night is that developer gathering on? It's going to be during the oh, I have failed this miserably. I don't have... I tried to click the... oh, it's an email link. So, I'll have a link in the show notes to the blog post with the RSVP link. But, what night is that going to be? You'll need to RSVP for a copy of the schedule. Alright.
So buy the Sunburn engine based on the recommendation by a couple of noobs.
No. This is at Game Fest.
Yeah. Okay.
So at Game Fest, they'll have a developer event that I don't think you'd have to buy the engine to
I'm
go
just saying,
to.
we're kind of like, you know, there's a bunch of features we don't know. There's some get-together at this event we're not going to.
Well, come on. I thought I would queue up the blog post, and it would say in their blog post, this is the date. It's going to be the dates of Game Fest. But there's a link there, and I'll have it in show notes to RSVP by email, so you can let them know, because I think it's going to be an after-hours type thing, and you might not have to be going to Game Fest to meet them. But if you are going to Game Fest, drop by and check those guys out at the booth. The time that I went to Game Fest, I did get to meet these guys and see a little hands-on demo. And then you can go, like, hey, I hear these idiots on this podcast talking about you, and I don't think this is that hard. They just sound like idiots. And they're like, yeah, let me show you. They're just idiots. Look how easy this stuff is. This is what, transparencies are. They also have in the
stuff
works...
is transparent.
They also have in the works some Game Fest 2011 demos and new examples. And this new example is going to show off their advanced light mapping. It's going to show off the transparencies. So we'll be able to figure that out. The player controller that I just talked about and the new input system, Handling scripted events, which is something that's recent to the engine as well, at being able to do scripted events. The audio system, so now the Sunburn engine can play back 3D audio, so it can handle that for you as well. Many of their custom effects and a whole lot more things. The screenshots look amazing on the demo. So I'll have links in the show notes, but if you want to go jump out right now, that is synapsegaming.com. Alright, welcome to GameMarx, everyone. Tonight we have a special guest. We have Nate from Vicinity Games. Welcome, Nate.
What's up, GameMarx Nation?
Yeah, all 15.
It's a very small nation.
15
with
to 30.
It's a tight group.
Yes. So Nate is Nate Allen, and on the Xbox you have released PaperCraft. So more know you as the PaperCraft developers.
Yeah.
So I fear I know the answer to this, but I'll ask. How did PaperCraft do?
So the last time we posted was when we had 1,000 sales. We're up to it's like 1450 or something right now. Yeah. So does that answer the question? We got about a 20% conversion rate over the whole. I'm fudging numbers a little bit. I'm rounding up to 20% over the whole time.
But that seems pretty good for Xbox Live Indie games. I mean,
Yeah.
It could have been worse.
Well,
You hope for more than a few thousand sales, but that's a successful game. Are you ranked? I know I could pull up my own sites and answer this question. Are you ranked up in the dashboard, or is it fallen off list now?
Oh yeah, no, it fell off a month or two ago.
Okay, so maybe Writings of Mass Destruction can get on that.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to contact him because he only does games that have fallen off.
Yes, he only does the games that have fallen off. I don't know if he's brought any game back yet. Maybe he could be the first.
The first resurrection of the game romancer, necromancer, Writings of Mass Destruction.
What do you feel that you guys learned from it, or would do differently, or would not do differently? What was working, what wasn't?
I think we kind of most focused on process, right? Like we kept trying to set deadlines for ourselves, even though we're doing this in our free time, and we have our day jobs, and it's fine if we miss a deadline. But we were trying to really figure out how you do this right. I don't know that I have the secret after all of this, but I guess it's just sort of a skill that you learn over time. You just get better at sticking to your own deadlines and making sure that you hit all the features that you want and that you put out good quality stuff. I think honestly we also kind of learned, and I don't know that this was a lesson that we needed to make a game to learn, that it may not be possible to make a living off of Xbox Live Indie games. But a really great opportunity that they provide to game developers.
I would agree with that. I would agree. You're not going to make a living, but you might open a door to, say, like a Steam or another channel.
Yeah, that would be really awesome if that happened.
I mean, the Fruit Ninja, Half Brick Studio, that they were Xbox Live Indie developers.
Wait, really? What did they make? What did they release?
Well, on Xbox Live Indie games, I think all their games actually start with Half Brick
something.
Half Brick Echoes.
There's at least 5 of them.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'll have to go look at that.
And then they left for iOS because they were looking for revenue,
Monies.
and they did Fruit Ninja, and now they got Fruit Ninja back as Xbox Live Arcade. So,
yeah.
Stags does not. I'm just going to say here, Stags does not have the secret to Xbox Live Indie games. How is Blow Me Up doing again? Mad, since you are destined to pimp your own site in our chat, why don't you link to the Blow Me Up sales chart? Let's see how that one's coming in. Made him cry. He didn't put Blow Me Up on the site.
Is he advertising that he has the secret to
Yeah, he's advertising that he has the secret to Xbox Live Indie games, yes.
I like I said, we only posted when we hit 1,000. We do have sales stats up to that 1,000 on the site. We haven't reposted to... this is XBligDB we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's bad. James Johnson sites, XBligDB.
All letters, unpronounceable.
He's a marketing genius. That's why you have your game, and you have several versions of your game on the service, so that when Microsoft tries to promote it, they get confused and promote the wrong one.
That way they all balance out. Like, that's true. It raises the water level. It doesn't.
I go on, Nate. There.
What were we talking about? Just the service, right?
The posting to the database. Have you posted your stuff up to Xbox
Yeah,
Live?
like I said, so when we hit 1,000, we were excited, and so we posted that onto so we could get the cool graphs. I actually copied the graphs and put them into our blog. I hope he doesn't mind. I did link back. So we've at least got you can go see the graph up to 1,000. And you can see all of the cool dips and drops when, like the market disappeared off the face of the earth and like the time that sales data just didn't come to the developers. I'm sorry, I'm starting in a really negative tone here.
You're quite positive and upbeat for I think the show so far.
Yeah, I think we've probably griped about all of these things before.
Right, and so forget it. We know all of these things already. We're not.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, I'm saying you can keep going. Like that's a normal show for us.
But the important thing you already said is this is not. We're not going to make a living off that. You mentioned day jobs. What are the day jobs?
I'll just say that we're both computer types. Mike is the other guy that I'm doing this with. It's not just the two of us that made this game. We had some friends help out, but the pair of us are officially Vicinity Games. Anyway, Mike is like legit. He's like a software developer. I'm like a tester. I'm like a software tester, but that's because I have a degree in philosophy. So they don't let me do the real things at my day job.
Is it more? Are you involved in the games industry, or are you involved in like just regular corporate?
Just regular corporate.
Okay.
Yeah, we're out in Kansas City, and there really is no game company out here, which is partially why we're trying to get this thing rolling. So, of the 15 people listening, if any of them are in Kansas City, go out to vicinitygames.com and contact me because we need more game developers in Kansas City.
Hey, look like somebody's out there in the chat.
Sweet.
Yeah, there you go.
Send me an email. It's just nate@vicinitygames.com. Or, whether you're a developer or not. Wait, who's my artist? My artist has your business card?
I would hope you knew that, Nate.
Do you have an alternate personality?
Well, maybe. I did do most of the art. Well, okay. Yeah, perfect. Seeing Casey on the map, let's just... love it. Okay. So since we brought up art, I do want to kind of mention, like, the game is called PaperCraft. For anybody who hasn't seen it, which is probably most of you, it's all made of paper. Like, actually, like, I folded things, origami and PaperCraft, and things were made out of paper, and I just photographed them on a green background and cut them out and put them into the game. That is entirely because I have no drawing skills. We needed art for the game, and I was like, well, I can fold paper, and I got a nice camera, so we'll make a game, and it'll have planes, and we'll call them PaperCrafts.
There you go. Done.
So,
indie game.
Ingenuity. Yeah, it's garage gaming.
Print, wrap. There we go. No, that's a good thing. Have you seen Platypus on the service?
I haven't. Around the time that we released, there was another, like, it was some bee game. Like with bees, the insects.
Was that? It wasn't Avatar Bee, was it?
No.
Bumblebee.
Yes. Thank you. They had kind of a similar.
I remember that.
Well, yeah. Oh, Bumblebee, and then Cutouts. Also, Cutouts had the same similar style. Yeah. But Platypus I mentioned because it's also a side-scrolling shooter, and it. I don't know if it was photographed. I think it's actually a rendering, but it looks like claymation.
Oh, cool.
That game has a long storied history, too. I mean, that game is like 10 years old, and it was a port that somebody got the license to port it to Xbox Live Indie Games. That's one of them. You just go read up about a developer who signed the wrong contract and lost the rights to his games, and then found like his game was being given to other people to develop now and port. But and it's interesting, though, because it has like a good ending to it, because like it died in a bargain bin essentially, and then because he didn't have the right, somebody else picked it up, they made it insanely popular and got his name back involved in the credits. So I mean, he wasn't getting revenue off of it because he lost those rights, but they at least credited him and knew how to market it to get it to success. So that's worth going and checking out there. You having a drink?
Me?
Yeah.
Or was that typing?
That was
No.
typing.
Oh, sorry, that was typing.
Oh, okay. It sounded like he just poured something. I don't know. Deaf ear side.
I can go get a drink. I think I've got some stuff for margaritas here.
That's more than welcome on this show. I just got back from developers conference, a regular boring business line of
the corporate
application developer, day job developers conference. But I got to do some XNA talks there, and I did an XNA talk. I made a Space Invaders clone, and then just basically walked through it. Got a lot of great big feedback on that because that came from going to Game Fest, and at Game Fest, like, they didn't stand up so much and show you, like, here's the framework and here's how you use it. They showed, like, this was the game we made and here's what we did.
How did that go in an hour format? Because you were doing that at the...
so I took a variation on the Betty Crocker approach.
Yeah.
So, like, the Betty Crocker approach basically is slang and presentation lingo for, like, having one completely made in the oven, and then you're like, so you're going to do this, this, and this, and then, like, bing, oh, here's the completed one, I did a variation of that, basically where I had it into, like, 6 stages done. So, like, the background was up, the player was up, the armada was up, the shields were up, and then the text and the score were up. So that I could just jump to those and then talk about what changed between each of them. It never fails that somebody immediately goes, but how do you unit test all this? And, I was actually, in the mode that I was in, I was completely honest. It's like, yeah, I don't.
Well, that's harder to do with something visual like a game. And I know that sounds horrible, and I'm sure someone has a different opinion there, but it's...
I did start off the talk with that games are not business applications.
Yeah.
Don't try to bring your model view controller over, because you don't even have an event-based paradigm. And you don't need it. And I tried to talk more about how the singleton pattern is used and how you have game state objects and screen state managers and things like that to set up. But that doesn't mean everybody hears that. They questions like, oh, well...
Is there like an argument?
How do you get reusable code? And it's like, how is this code not reusable? We can go into the invaders structure and make the change and it's there. And I don't have to touch any other code. So... it's not an interface that's being implemented and loaded by something at runtime, dynamically injecting it, with some DI framework, but it's still flexible.
Well, and based on, like, not every interface for a game, and we did this with Inca Blocks, where we wrote it was a mess, and then we came back and said, this could be a control, this could be a control, this could be a control, and, we built a library around it. So I think that's kind of...
See, I love this in chat. Matt is, I don't even know what unit testing is. I feel I should. No, you shouldn't. You've made over $250,000 off of the service. It's not hindering you.
No.
I bet you there's not one unit test on FortressCraft.
No, I mean, well...
You can say that again.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's true. They probably could have benefited from some. They probably could have benefited from playtest. Really, honestly.
Ooh.
Remember back when they were launching, they refused to go to playtest because someone would pirate the game.
Right, and didn't they like release it into the wild and it got pirated anyway? I think I played a build of it before it was in playtest.
Yes, they did. They basically like set up like a Dropbox or an email, like, hey, if you're on this, we'll put you on the email list and we'll email out our CC game file, and then it leaked
It's all about
that
control.
way.
Yeah.
And, to be honest...
Did it impact it at all? No.
I mean, they're big enough that they... I don't want to say it's justified, but they can get away with it. If it was a developer that was selling, it was... If we did that with Inca Blocks, we look like complete jerks.
Well, no, they look like complete jerks. They weren't $1 million game when they pulled that crap.
Oh, yeah.
They
but
were
had a
just
better
another
chance
indie
of-
game, and they were cloning that, and they were like, no, we have to be ultra protective of our little thing. And it's like, nobody has ripped a game off of Xbox Live Indie Games.
This thing you cloned from this other game.
Yeah, they rip off Minecraft. You can go to YouTube, and I bet you it's still up there that tells you how to get a copy of Minecraft for free. Like, it was all over YouTube how you trick out the client so that you can play for free. Because I think it's Java, and it's probably not that hard to mimic. And that hasn't stopped Notch from raking in the money. Speaking of Notch, did you see
Yes.
his challenge to Bethesda on the lawsuit?
Yes.
Okay, if you've not heard about the lawsuit,
This sounds
Notch
insane.
was told to trademark Minecraft, and he was like, okay, fine, we'll trademark Minecraft, becoming a real company, I'll do it. And so he trademarked the name of his next game, Scrolls. Okay? And then Bethesda said, no, we have a trademark on the Elder Scrolls, and therefore you can't have Scrolls. Which is totally fucked, because it's like saying, like, we get the Elder and Scrolls are all ours or something now. Like, it's really... And then there's the whole case, like, is that going to be confusing and all that? And then there's the last thing of, like, nobody calls it the Elder Scrolls. What do you call it? You call it Oblivion.
That's like, George Lucas suing everyone who has a movie with Wars in the title.
Star.
I saw Notch tweet out, he said that he had compiled a list of games that have Rage or Doom in the title. And I didn't look at the list, but he said it was a pretty long list.
Oh, that would be great. So, anyway, I think he said at some point, maybe he tweeted or maybe he posted, that his lawyers basically said, there's no case here. Like, Bethesda doesn't have a leg to stand on. But he posted basically, like, let's settle this. And he challenged him to Quake 3 arena match. So basically, he brings the best 3 on his team, Bethesda bring the best 3, the players they have, they each pick a map, the order is randomized, and then, like, the best out of 3. If they win... if Bethesda wins, they will name whatever Bethesda feels is okay. If Notch wins, if Mojang Software wins, then they will obviously not, or they will obviously get to use the name. And the end of his post is like, and I'm serious. Like, this is a serious offer.
I mean, it makes sense. No money is being changed. No money is changing hands. It's not like, just
This
pretty
is
simple.
old school duel.
Yeah. No one gets hurt. No one loses anything.
Let's get some pussy on the podcast for all the viewers of the live stream. Everybody on the audio stream. Sorry that you're missing this. This is a visual joke completely only. And my cat is an old curmudgeon and hates the shit out of this right now. Are you going to stay or are you going to get down, sir?
An old curmudgeon with bad breath.
Alright.
Just don't put any cereal on your desk there, because he'll be after it.
He won't drink milk.
He won't. The only reason why he eats wet cat food or anything that looks real is to fuck the other cat out of getting it.
Cats are jerks.
Yes. I mean, now he will beg for a can. If you get a can, like a can of tuna or a can of cat food, he'll do what every other cat does to it. Like, he'll just start begging for that can. He'll rub up all against that can. You open that can and give it to him, even if it's real tuna. He sniffs it and walk away. Like, all he wants is his dry cat food.
That's cats.
Yep. He's just asserting dominance. That's all he's doing. And now, how old is he? 95.
Cat years, whatever.
Yeah.
They have been changing it recently where the domestic cats are actually considered younger even though they're older. So he was only 74 the last time I checked.
Well, they say indoor cats, they age slower than the outdoor cats on their little scales, too. But he's old enough to not give a fuck anymore. I mean, he just flat does not give a fuck. Wake the baby? I don't give a fuck. I'll wake the baby if you're not going to feed me.
Cats cared
yeah.
when they were young about anything.
My cat cares for what she can understand.
You think your cat cares. You can convince yourself that sometimes your
All
cat
right.
cares. She does not.
She cares enough
Does
to learn
not.
tricks. She knows sit.
Cats don't obey. They sometimes just agree with you.
There was a question on the forums, on the Sunburn forums in XNA. So on the XNA site, on the Create the App Hub, there was a question in the Sunburn forums of, can I do this without sunburn? Right?
Okay.
Which I kind of thought was cool. That, yeah, you can totally do all this without Sunburn.
Well, I mean, obviously,
It's all XNA. Like,
Yeah.
all their stuff is implemented on top of XNA. And
for it to run on the Xbox, it has.
what I love is the Z-Man Smackdown that comes in there. And, he's basically like, I don't feel comfortable using an engine I haven't written. And Andy quotes that, and then he goes, and yet you're using a managed graphic API that you didn't write, which wraps a native graphic API you didn't write, which calls drivers that you didn't write, running on an operating system that you didn't write. Don't forget .NET and C# compilers that you didn't write. Just pointing out,
a processor you didn't design, on a motherboard you didn't build,
Yes.
in a case that you did not mine.
But
the
a game
ore
engine
for.
you didn't write is where we draw the line.
Yeah.
But, joking aside, and he kind of goes into not necessarily so much Sunburn specifically, but the need to find an engine,
Yeah.
right? The need to use an engine. Because it's like, are you building an engine or are you building a game? And he basically points out that he can point this guy to a bunch of forum guys who never made a game because they spend all their time making an engine. They just get obsessed
Yes.
with going down the track and making an engine.
On the flip side, there is value to understanding what's going on under the hood, so that you're not.
There is
and
a
that's
value
where
of
it
having an
comes
understanding. Like, you might want to know what transparencies are before you use them.
From. Yes.
Um,
Well, you might want to make sure that you're not making an assumption about how something is working
yes,
that turns out to be invalid.
true, but to redo everything, and then Sunburn's not a free engine, but there are free engines and stuff out there.
Yes.
And it's like, we're becoming.
Well, they do have a
I'm
framework.
becoming a big fan of Tiled. I don't know if you're playing with it at all.
I haven't, since looking at it initially, no, but just what I've seen from TileLib and from, just a basic level of functionality gets you so far, so it's nice.
It's good, or maybe it's sad. I don't know. It's good that I didn't find the Tiled engine when we kept having our Zelda discussions.
Why?
Oh, because I would have totally gone down. Like, I can see how I could
You would've
map
gone down
out
rabbit
Zelda
hole.
in Tiled, and have the whole. And that's all I would be doing. I would be creating the overworld every night.
Recreating the game.
Well, I don't know that I would recreate it. I'd have to change it. I wouldn't redo it. I'd have to come out and figure out what it was. But the gameplay would be the Legend of Zelda. There
I don't
wouldn't
think
be.
that's necessarily a bad thing. I think if you could hone that.
As Stegs has said, it's okay to clone stuff as long as it's an old game. You can't clone stuff from a few months ago. That's an insult. But if you can clone stuff as much as you want,
Well, if you can capture the same feel and,
nostalgia.
and yet not copy it. Yeah, if you're copying the overworld map, then you have a problem.
News here: the Dream Build Play Top 20/21 were announced.
/21?
Maybe 21. 21 question mark? 20 plus maybe one? I don't get. So, Major Nelson, for his major minute of the week, I guess he must have just straight rattled off the list. If he does a minute, I don't watch him. I don't know what he
I don't
does.
either.
His minute for the week, maybe a major minute, maybe like 5 minutes. I don't know. But
Major's 5 minutes doesn't sound as.
so
doesn't
he
roll off
listed
the
through
tongue.
all the games that made it. I recognize quite a few on the list, such as Blocks That Matter made the list, which they just got a Steam deal.
Yeah. I
So
saw
that would
something
be
about
highly
that.
ironic to win the Dream Build Play, and it's like, yeah, fuck the arcade. We're kicking ass on Steam. We're good. Thanks, guys.
We've got everything.
We don't need your horrible contract. Yeah, I read somewhere about the contracts on XBLA are beyond distribution contracts.
Beyond distribution.
They are
they
publisher
limit you
level.
where you can.
It'd be more like a publisher agreement that you're there. I don't know if they do that for Dream Build Play contest winners. Maybe it's just a straight distribution deal. But
But there
generally,
are games that hit XBLA that also hit other platforms. So I wonder. I guess those are ones that have a major company.
so I
behind
think
them.
those are the ones that come in through EA.
Yeah, and they've got a little more leverage.
And you might have to fight a little bit more if because you're not really self-publishing on there. You're
Yeah.
Microsoft Game Studio publishing.
Okay.
Is
If you're an
kinda what
indie
you're doing.
developer is what
Yeah,
you're
like your
saying.
indie developers get pushed under the Microsoft publishing hat. So
But even Braid came out on PS3, didn't it? But that
eventually
was
it did, yeah.
later, so then
But it
maybe
was a time thing on that.
speculating, trying to reverse engineer what's in this to
we have no clue. We don't know what we're talking out of our ass. I recognized on there Uzi Earth Adventures, the Orbitron Revolution, which that's one of the Sunburn games. I know that one's using Sunburn. Progenitor was not on the list. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, a lot of these Sequence, Solar 2, Speedrunner I'd seen, Tick Part 1. These games I've seen and many are out. That's one thing I was kind of surprised. I didn't realize you could release your game
and then submit it.
Well, I didn't realize you could submit your game and then release it. Like, I don't know. Would they take it off the service and then would make it an Xbox Live Arcade title all of a sudden?
We submitted after releasing, after we were on sale. I remember checking the terms of service thoroughly to make sure that we were allowed to do that. There's actually a few games that were on XBLIG and are now on XBLA. It wasn't Shuggy Cat, and then there's another one coming out like a Dig Dug style platformer. There's games that are on both. They just get kind of an update. It's not usually like the exact same game, right? They'll usually add some content, redo the graphics. When you get an XBLA contract, they actually do fund some prettifying of your game.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
that's
a technical term. I've not ever wondered. I would hope that if you won, if you won, they're going to put on there that they would take some guys from the Microsoft studio, bring you up to Microsoft for a little bit, let you have a week or two to at least get guidance and maybe some help on art assets and a little polish and push. Because I know the games that do
total
win,
indie game makeover.
Well, that they should actually make that a series and put it on the Dash. I mean, it's Microsoft. We're asking too much for them to think, like that. But I would hope they would help them push it over because I think usually it goes like a year or so or more before these games make it out because. If you think peer review is bad, the certification process that Microsoft has is again only knowing secondhand. Well, no, actually, I was told specifically at Game Fest, like there was a session about like, hey, you guys got to fix all your shit because we're getting tired of failing your games. But like the audience isn't like Xbox Live indie developers; it's like guys in EA who made Shadow Complex are sitting in the audience like to try to figure out like how to pass the Microsoft review system. So it's pretty intense. So the reason I said 21 is there was another game called 8-Bit Night. And either because... It's not clear. I don't have a definite answer. Either because he's not in one of the right countries for Xbox Live Indie... Countries not supported... or he missed the email. So, like, the guy was saying that he was hospitalized for a few days or something. The email comes in, but he was kind of laid out recovering, and then he finds the email in his spam folder, after hearing his game was on the list on the Major's Minute. But on the official list, like, it was dropped. So, like, the Major Nelson's read his game off, but they didn't actually list it on the site.
Because he didn't get back to it.
So, I hope they just kind of like, he finds the email late, he sends it in, explains the situation, they give him in there. That would just suck ass. To like, something comes up, and you miss an email. Oh, that's it. Sorry. You lose. So I hope that gets in.
Have fun on new releases.
And, complaining about the ones that are already out, I'm not really complaining. But, I just, oh, well, I've seen a bunch of these. Like, I was kind of like, oh, what's these ones I haven't seen? But there are a good number on there that haven't seen. Although, some of the names, just looking at them, like, I'm not holding out high hopes for Ninja Crash. Like, I've been burned by too many games called Ninja. Yeah, that's that's there. And I'm not going to name names, but reading the list on some of these games that we have played, I'm wondering why Progenitor's not in there, basically. Like, I'm looking at some of the ones I know were submitted, and I'm like, why didn't that get in and this did? Like, and it's not merely just like saying, like, oh, gameplay didn't matter and graphics were king. Progenitor had good graphics. Now, I've not played Progenitor. I'm just going off the videos. Maybe it plays like total shit, but I have a rough time believing that.
Isn't it an RTS style?
Yeah, that's what Andy said. It was some kind of RTS-inspired thing. It wasn't strictly...
I wonder if there are certain genres that do better just because of what they're looking for.
So, other lists that have come out, the Indie Game Uprising. The dates are announced when these games will go out, assuming they're all past peer review by their target date. And they have picked the last 2 games. So, Raventhorn, Battle High San Bruno, which is already out, but yet it has a release date of the 23rd, so I'm guessing that's a patch.
They're pushing out an update. Yeah.
Okay. Cute Things Dying Violently, TEC 3001, Doom and Destiny, Take Arms, Speedrunner, Train Frontier Express. These were all the developer voted in games, and then Chester and Red the Lost Temple were the community vote, the Facebook votes in the game. And I'm a little late to this. I missed this when this was a news topic, when this was the topic of the day, just because I had never clicked play on the trailer.
Yeah.
The trailer they made for the Indie Games Uprising uses the Mega Man 2 theme song, and it's starting off and
like the original,
showing San Bernardine's Battle High San Bruno.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, it struck me as like indies are clones of old games. Like you're hearing the Mega Man theme song, and you're seeing this game that looks like Street Fighter, and it's like, I would have used original music. Come on, we got enough indie guys out there doing music. We can get some indie music.
By definition,
we can get some of the game music mixed in.
Any fighting game, any 2D fighting game is probably going to.
I'm not saying that that's a blame on San Bruno. Like I'm blaming the editing and the production of the video.
Okay.
I'm saying that video did not start off with, the little dude doing the running. Is he in that? I don't know if that's. No, that might be a Dream Build play. I don't think that. Or was that TEC 3001?
I don't know. I actually haven't seen the trailer yet. So.
One of them has like a dude just like running, like a little Cybertron dude like running down the screen. I guess a little different, kick off with that. Or the Cute Things Dying Violently, that's always an indie staple of high violence, with cute things or something. I don't know.
But the fighting game makes it
the
look
way
like
the video kicks off, to me, and this is the developer side talking, this might not be, maybe the gamers see that and they go like, oh, I love the Mega Man 2 theme, which, hey, it's a fucking great song. Love the Mega Man 2 theme.
It may be like a lot of movie trailers. Early movie trailers will reuse well-known, like, existing music because they're there before, all the music has been composed, so. And you don't notice it. And that may be what they're going for here is.
Oh, but you do notice it. Come on, you would not recognize the Mega Man 2 theme?
I don't know. I mean, I'd be like, I've heard that somewhere before, but depending on what we're talking about, I'm probably not.
I've got it stuck in my head just from you mentioning it.
See? Like...
I couldn't place it. I kept thinking, the stage select music.
That's like my favorite part. That's like when I'm pumped, because you get that music in the game when you have beaten all of the robots and you're like at the base of Dr. Wily's level. And it's like, yeah, I'm here now and I'm going to kick your ass. That's what that's saying. Like, I'm here right now and I'm going to kick your ass, and like I'm pumped at that part for the insane length of that level to finally get to Dr. Wily and have the final battle. Like that thing. There's many times where I played that game, and do you remember the little guy with the eyeball, and he like pieced across the screen one at a time?
Yes.
That's vaguely, as far as I got frustrated, threw the controller, and said, fuck this.
I remember I rented it, and I got to, there's this one part where you have to make a jump. You're standing on the ladder over at the right side, and you have to jump over to this. I may be thinking of something else. Maybe one of the other games. But I remember there was some crazy jump that I could never get.
Well, you might have needed like the little platform thing that you could lay out. There was like a little blue gun that made like a little thing you could walk on.
Maybe was that the one that had like the little you could place? No, that was there's one that you could.
There was one that you placed things that went up and they floated, but there was one that you could.
And this,
shoot
of course,
beam.
was before Rush, so you didn't have this. Slide.
Yeah, you didn't. It was the good Mega Man.
The good Mega Man.
which is only Mega Man 1 and 2 in my book, but...
3 wasn't bad.
I played... 2 was the first one I had ever played, so...
Mega Man 1 is a hell of a lot tougher. If you go back and play them in retrospect, I didn't realize this at the time,
I don't think I played it until much later.
But going back and playing them much older, I realized, like, holy crap, Mega Man 1 was a lot tougher than 2. I didn't think that at the time, but going back and playing them, I do.
Yeah, I've beat 2 plenty of times. Never, I don't think I've ever beaten 1. And it has less bosses, even.
Yeah. It's a much smaller game.
Like the 7 or something, because I had a different layout, I remember.
Yeah.
Because all the ones
you want to take out Gutsman first. And then you can take out Cutman, and you can.
I always took out Cutman first. That must have been my problem.
Oh yeah, see,
Cutman,
you throw like one rock into him, and he's dead.
Gutsman, like the level starts off with you having to like jump over chasms with those little like hat with feet men shooting at you.
Yes.
And like I could never get the timing down to like get over the chasm without just getting shot into it. So I think I always put that one off.
Yeah, you see, we get the little platforms that drop out from underneath you as they go by.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you can make it past that part, then you'll get that level, but it'll take several starts.
I remember I bought the Anniversary Collection back on Xbox, and of course this was with the original Xbox controller, and that just sucks compared to the Nintendo controller. It was just funny because back when I was a kid, I would spend like whole weekends playing video games, and then when I went back to play this, it was like, wow, I'm really rusty and never really picked it back up.
We're getting mocked in the chat for talking about like how dare the indie game trailer use Mega Man, and then we go off on Mega Man conversation for several moments, but
so I thought it was kind of funny that you even made the comment that, oh, we're just indie games, we're just copying these old games. Like it kind of reminds me of like when you go to see some local band of like late 30s dudes, and they're all like trying to do metal bands because that's what they grew up with, but nobody cares anymore. It's a little bit like that, isn't it?
Take that, Lars. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with the cloning, but it's generally either bring something up that hasn't been done in a long time. All right. That was remembered well, but you just go through like your Atari 2600 or your NES collection and like, wow, there hasn't been this type of game in a long time. Yes. And then I think you're fair to go ahead and like do a fairly faithful, clone or something of that because it hasn't been done in a long time. Or, if it's something that gets cloned quite often, like say Space Invaders, and put up there, put a spin on it. Just sit back and go, okay, I'm going to do Space Invaders, but like the guys over at Zona Games, I'm just going to really ramp up the insanity of the bullets and make it a bullet hell shooter. Take and do a little spin on that. That's where the interesting things happen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really any original games out there. They're all building off of each other that way.
I think for certain types of games, like Zelda, or even if you did a Mega Man style game, there's a certain amount of polish required to do a good clone. Because I think you could do... Zelda's a good example, where you could do that sort of top-down style game, but if you didn't get certain elements of the gameplay in place, and I'm not talking about like big things like items or locations or stuff like that, but just the feel of it down, it's going to feel like crap. You'll think it's great because you're remembering back to it, but the average user, I think I noticed this because we've reviewed so many games, you'll come in and like, no, I don't remember this. Well, this is not evoking that for me at all.
It's peeling beneath the hood, and it's like we were talking about in Mega Man, and realizing there's a little bit more to it because it's Mega Man. 1 was not just 7 bosses and then a big boss fight.
Yeah,
there's a strategy of like, who do I take down first, and what weapon do I use on who?
Yes.
And that the levels are somewhat designed. They're actually easier if you go in a certain order and you have certain devices to get through certain weapons and power ups. And so it's that if you're, cloning that, you've got to understand that too, and that gets missed a lot. That's what you're saying when we review a lot of games.
Level design matters.
It does.
And that's one of the elements of polish. But even like, when I was playing around and trying to create like a Zelda clone in X and A, there were just certain certain pieces of like certain elements of how the character moves around and walks and interacts with things that you just expect, or it doesn't feel right.
But to justify this section of the podcast, you are wearing your Four Swords shirt, so
I am,
so there, that makes it okay.
I guess so. Should I could stand up, but I'll have to move the mic and.
Yeah, just there it is. All right,
Okay.
that didn't come out at all. It's like a 320 by 200 pixel image. It actually goes up, so they're not getting anything in. Here's some pussy. All right.
We tried. What more do you want from us?
Yep, get down, old man. All right. I think we should start running down the new games of the week.
Yes, we should.
We'll talk about some indie games on this indie game podcast. Now it's time for our new releases of the week. What did the week run from? The week ran from the 12th of August through the 14th of... No. The 18th of August. Yes, it was a two-day week. That is the GameMarx week. It was a light week.
Actually, was
first one up. Silver Dollar Games has brought us Virtual Money Plant.
This hit like late Thursday night, so I keep like forgetting that it was this week.
So again, this is a question of: are they doing this to fuck with the people who complain about them? Are they self-aware? And this game only exists for the people who bitch about Silver Dollar Games. So what you do in this game, you have a plant, kind of like Farmville, only you have one plant. Like Farmville, it takes 4 hours for that plant to grow. 4 real fucking hours for that plant. You can't do shit in the Timo. Except, like, read about, like, this plant come back in 4 hours.
Does it actually have to run for 4 hours, or is it like Avatar Farm? Where
it may be time-based, yeah. Because you can plant a new plant, you can replant or something, so that would probably just reset the clock. And then you come back 4 hours later and give it some water. And then come back, like 8 hours later and pull $1 off, and there's like a meter of like how many dollars you've pulled off. And that looks to be it. That looks to be the entire game.
I hate to say this, but you could just play Farmville.
You would have
Similarly
more to do in Farmville.
Indeed. Yeah, you gotta manage a whole farm. There's like cows. There's other farm animals.
There's more to do in Avatar Farm.
But it doesn't grow.
Avatar Farm from last week.
There is a money plant in Farmville.
There's a money plant.
Yes,
There's probably everything. I mean, they have to churn stuff out to get you to keep buying.
So, I don't know if you guys follow GiantBomb.com at all.
Yes,
indeed.
Have you been watching Betting the Farmville?
Yes,
he has, but
I love
haven't.
it.
I saw the first one. And
isn't it really interesting just to kind of see like how these core gamers, how these like really experienced gamers are treating this Facebook social gaming world that they have nothing about, and they're just trying to treat it like it's a video game, and it's just failing miserably.
Oh, it's hilarious. Now, my thing is, I don't use Facebook. I don't play Facebook games or anything, so I don't have any clue of like what's going on in Farmville, other than know it's something like Harvest Moon, but cheesier and designed to get your money.
Time and money. Basically.
Yeah, it's basically like, hey,
money
pay some money to save some time here type game. So, but I'm finding that their stuff hilarious. And the episode where they do a check-in with the investors, so so what they do is they take 2 of their interns, and then 2 of the staff writers are investors in the farm. So they took $10 each to buy farm bucks or whatever. Yes. To use on their farm, and they're basically competing against each other to see who will have the most farm bucks at the end. So which investor will get back the better farm? And
that actually sounds like a lot more structure than they actually had. They were just like, just it's investing. Something will come out of it, right? Yeah. Like they didn't even really decide what the winning condition is.
No, they haven't decided the winning condition, and they haven't really decided the rules. They're kind of like changing them. At first, they made them play like solo, and then they realized like you can't do a whole lot on Farmbook solo. So now they're letting them play social, but they only give them 1 hour a day, so they can only log in a total of an hour a day. And if they're accepting,
wasn't it 4 hours?
No, it was 1 hour.
Yeah, an hour a day.
And
like,
if they're accepting invites, that counts as their time.
Ooh.
So
they basically have to leverage the farm bucks.
Well, neither one of them got farm bucks. They bought farm coins or something.
I don't know how.
They
Which
bought the
everybody-
in-game coins. I'm like, no, get the money stuff. Get the money stuff.
Anybody I know that
Get the
knows
money
Farmville
stuff.
was like, oh, that was a total fuck up. They should not have bought the coins. They should have gotten the farm bucks. So there's an episode where one guy leaves his Farmville logged in, and they try to fuck with his farm, and so they have, but they're fucking with his farm at the same time that they are shooting the weekly update. So basically what happens is Facebook keeps logging out of one and out and into the other computer. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They have to reload. So they're not actually able to do anything to his farm except trash it. But yeah, they were totally like, he left it open and we're going to mess with it. There's this episode, though, I think it's like episode 4, where there's a check-in with the investors. And they do this whole little stage skit where they're calling the investors on a cell phone. Okay, so the one guy's got like an earpiece going to his cell phone, and he's standing in front of a PowerPoint chart, like it's just a random PowerPoint chart thrown in the background.
He Google imaged pie chart and just puts the Google image results of pie chart behind him.
And he's calling up, and he's like, "What, J-Dog? How's it going? You know, are you how's life? You know, all that. All right, well." We're not there yet, but we're in for the long haul, and, going on, so it's hilarious. Plus, they're doing it with their interns. They're shitting all over their interns.
Well.
Yes.
All that is to say, why are you playing Virtual
Yes,
Multiplayer?
there's so many better things to do.
There's so many things to do better than Farmville.
Better than Virtual Money Plant.
Yeah.
Next one up is Swashbuckle Your Seatbelts. And this is by
weird game.
This is by the developer of GHK XY2 whatever. All I played was basically this car going up a building. Like there was nothing else to it. I didn't hit anything from that, and a really bad jump mechanic. We got insulted on our YouTube that we don't know what the fuck we're talking about for making fun of the original game.
Did they say why?
No, that was the entire comment. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Well, that's true. We have no idea what this thing is.
Exactly. And, look what we have to review here.
Not everyone's going to get it. That's why you should enjoy it.
But we did that video once, so we didn't feel the need to cover this again.
Oh.
The next one up is Kicking It, and it's like this bad hacky sack. So, did you ever play like the NES hacky sack? Like it was like part of California Sports or one of those sport games?
No, I never played
Extreme Sports or something on the NES. It was a little hacky sack game where you just kind of keep a hacky sack going, right? And it was the NES days, so you have like these move the man in A and B, for kicking the legs. And this thing goes to like this extreme, like up, to left and right on the thumbstick. Do left and right like inside kicks, but if you push up left and right, those do outside kicks, but of like the opposite direction or something. Like it's awful. The control scheme on this is horrid.
He made it river dance.
But yes, I think I might make some video of Vinyl is Lord of the Dance. Because you can just roll a thumbstick around in a circle, and that's what it looks like your guy is doing. So I may put that on a 30-second loop and upload that. But other than that, this game's not worth checking out. Our next game up is Blow Me Up by none other than Stegosaurus Games. We've kept the art style of Can You Handle Two at Once. We have a blow-up doll of questionable attractiveness is there.
Questionable. That's putting it generously.
But the gameplay I really like. I really like this game. So you kind of launch yourself. You hold down. You push in the direction you want to go, and you hold down the button, and you see a radius of basically the intensity of the explosion you're about to create, and then you blow your little guy, and like an arm will blow off or something of him too, because you only get so much gunpowder on him. You blow your little guy off the screen, and you just try to get him to the exit. And then, about, 5 levels in? I think it switches up.
So, yeah. It switches back and forth.
It switches up about 5 levels over where you start playing a pig that has to go up to chickens and blow them up, and go up to cows and blow them up.
Making bacon.
And
because they explode in a shower.
well, no, the
of
bacon
delicious
is
meats. Yeah.
The bacon is you using live.
The chicken and the cows.
The
also
chicken becomes a little
explode
roast
into
chicken.
meat.
The cow becomes some steaks and chunk across the screen. Very, very cool. Similar to the little fire dude. What was his name? Explosion Man.
Okay.
If you played Explosion Man and you blew up the doctors or the little scientists, and they went into like chunks of meat, that's the way this stuff flies off the screen. So it's really cool in visual effect. And like the other game that Segs did that I liked, This Is Hard. This has this nice short puzzle-like game. So it's like you got a bunch of levels, but they're really short levels. So you can get away with a really challenging level because it's not that long. Like, you're not going to spend that long playing that level. Now, in Blow Me Up, it's a star system, so you're playing to try to get 3 stars. In This Is Hard, it actually went like, okay, you failed a couple times. Do you just want to take a pass? You just want to go on to the next level? And it would let you actually pass your way on and go to the end, so you could actually skip a few levels and go on. Both of them worked with the same mechanic, though. Basically, like, you don't have to keep replaying this for 3 stars. You can go on and come back to it later.
That's a replayability thing.
Yeah, it's a replayability, but it's more importantly something like, don't get frustrated here.
Yeah.
Like, you can very easily complete the levels, but getting those stars up is very, very difficult. I found that out.
It seems like the kind of game that would work well on a phone, too.
Yes, unfortunately, it is a puzzle game. It's still a puzzle game on Xbox Live Indie
It would do
games,
better on a phone.
It would be better on any platform. Sorry, Stegs, our condolences for releasing a puzzle game on the service.
But we
Action
liked
puzzle
game.
game.
But we
Slightly
liked
better.
it. You'll get critical success, and isn't that really what you're there for? Just to be told you did a good job. Who needs money? Not like he does Xbox Live Indie games full time or anything. That would be hard to make a living at it. He does do Xbox Live Indie games full time. Next one up is Andromium.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes. We did video of Blow Me Up, and we did video of Andromium. And
I don't know.
this is a neat concept. So you've got 2 ships scrolling vertically, going up. Either you in the computer or you in a co-op player, and you have basically a hot potato. And so you can only hold it for so long, and then you throw it to the other ship. And then that ship can only hold it for so long, and then it throws it back. So you're constantly throwing back this little Andromium crystal or comet or whatever it is, while trying to navigate your way through the level. You have shields, and you can destroy things by running into them with your shield on. Some things you can destroy running to with your shield on. You do not have a gun.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a passive play mode.
It's kind of cool. The trial only lets you play the 1-player mode, but it seems like it would be a cool co-op game. Like, it's a really good game built for that. I don't know how well it will play if you're just playing by yourself.
I found it played a little slow, too. Like, the scroll speed was a little slow, but
it's still kind of tricky, even at that scroll speed, but yeah.
It is kind of tricky, and it did get a little weird in the second level. So it only lets you play 2 levels in the trial, and this is one I almost, need to see more levels to know, like, where's this going?
Well, the first level, you're out in space, because you've got to transport this Andromium, whatever. And you can't...
Second level, you're in Bizarro wormhole.
You're going through the wormhole, and it's just, like...
floating scissors
insane.
And toasters and weird stuff. So the next game we have up is Let's Draw and Share. It's not a game, it's a bad drawing app.
It's a game where you draw and share.
Yeah. Next one up is Inferno! Exclamation point. Not to be confused with the dual stick shooter Inferno. This one, I don't know if it's actually a remake of an older game. No, but it definitely has a hardcore retro vibe.
Yeah, I mean, it has kind of the old school VGA style graphics. It kind of feels like... I kept saying an on-rails
Pac-Man. Yeah.
But Pac-Man, I guess, is technically on rails.
Well, he had
But
limited places where he could go, but they're on rails, though. Like, you are literally, your ship is on a track, and you
Yeah.
can only turn when the track turns or change tracks where there's a junction. You can shoot, so there are, like, ghosts, the equivalent of ghosts moving around the track. You can shoot them, but you do have to be able to be facing them, which sometimes is not possible because you can only go up and down. They're coming at you from the left or something.
Yeah.
Or you need to shoot left. They won't be on the same track as you. They're bound to the tracks as well. But you can't, like, shoot them out from the side. You kind of have to charge them to take them out.
Yeah. There's a ton of different power-ups that do different things. Like, I don't think you have guns all the time. I think that's something you have to pick up. The problem is, the text in the UI is so small.
The text is very small in the UI. The screen space for your status bar is very cramped to understand what's going on. And also, no concept of title safe in this game.
Yes.
I don't remember if I looked in settings to see if it could be tucked in or not.
Yeah, I don't
but
think so.
You didn't see anything to tuck it in. It may have something somewhere, but there's a lot of bits that are edge of title safe. You'll see a little of that in the video. You'll see the power-up bar at the bottom gets clipped on that. But it didn't matter that it was really clipped. It was too tiny and compact to read, so just kind of ignored it. The pellets that you're picking up is really like flying over what looked like lava sections, and like you're putting out the inferno, essentially. Is what's going on there. I'm sure the text explained it all to us, but it was tiny and there was a lot of it, so I didn't read it. Next one up is Flip and Shift. This is not a great 3D match puzzle game.
You say that as if we have really liked any 3 match.
Yeah, but I mean this one pushes really the bar even lower. You can flip you don't move dots around or click the dots that are grouped, right? You flip a tile over and it changes color. So like red changes to green, blue changes to orange.
Basically the complementary colors.
It goes to its complementary color.
You have to remember your color wheel,
yes.
which I do not.
And it's not blue to orange is not like right on the tip of my, like, oh yeah, obviously blue goes to orange. Yellow to purple, of course. Why? What else would it do?
The trick.
And then there's this shift where you can swap 2 around, but it stacks them on really quick, and it becomes this really nightmare of trying to run around and flip stuff around. And you kind of want to try to set up a chain, but you don't have the kind of time needed to set up a chain. Yeah. And then there aren't enough little just match 3 and get rid of them. Combinations to keep going, so
there definitely needs to be an easier mode to ease you into it. But the problem is, if you're not doing the color shifting, you're only moving one tile around at a time, and so you kind of have to wrap your head around the complementary color thing.
Our next one up is Pajamarama, which we've established is a fighting game of the Smash Brothers descent.
Yes. Because we had this discussion before the video.
We had this discussion, which basically means that it has percentage-based damage, and you can fall off the screen, and there was something else?
You can fall up the screen.
You can fall
off the screen, too.
But it's not like you have a life bar, and when you run out, you're dead. As you deal more damage.
You do have lives.
You do. You can play stock, and I'm assuming you play a score mode as well. Like the modes are set up. But basically, the more damage you take, the farther you fly when you get hit.
Okay, yeah, that was the third, yeah.
The difference is between this and Smash Brothers is this is a bunch of girls having a pillow fight essentially.
But don't get your hopes up from the box art on the graphics.
No.
You're not gonna. It's not gonna look as sexy. If that's what you want, I highly recommend DOA.
I was gonna say it's the least misogynistic game on Xbox Live Indie Games, which I guess isn't really. It's thinnest kid at fat camp.
And the girls have weird expressions on their faces. Like the expressions do not match. They're like these weird, off in the distant looks. It's like somebody could only draw like one expression. Like, they weren't capable of drawing multiple facial expressions, so they don't match like a pillow fight. Like, they're not smiling, they're not laughing, they're not angry, they're just looking off in the distance, like they're
Women are automatons.
Like they got slipped a little date drug there, and
You are taking this to a very
The
dark
hair
place.
bounces, the boob bounces, but there's nothing in the eyes.
yeah, yeah. They appear to be on some kind of drug and are just there to take it.
Wow.
But we did video of that, so look forward to that. Nova Remnant is next one up, and this is let me double check.
You considered
this is
it
the Tower
tower
Defense.
It's almost...
Yes, this is that one.
Basically what you do is you've got a playing field full of asteroids, and you have to break them.
Right, which give you the minerals to have some towers.
Or it releases an alien, and you have to kill the aliens with your towers.
Well, I think it gives you both. I think you get the minerals, and it has a chance of releasing the alien. But they seem to be pre-placed, actually. If you played it a second time, you could avoid the ones that had aliens hiding behind them.
And that actually does make a huge difference. Because
the instructions said that you could rotate the towers to place them in any direction, and that you could select which towers to place. I could only get one type of tower, and I could not get that thing to rotate. I was trying all kinds of weird combinations. I'm like, it's just triggers. It was either triggers or bumpers.
bumpers
to rotate.
move between turrets, and then triggers.
And neither
rotate
one was
or
responding
mirror.
on the screen in any way that it was doing anything.
Yeah, I almost want to say that was intentional, because the cannons would face right, the lasers would face left, and I assume maybe there was some logic to that. Maybe I'm trying to put meaning where there was none, and it was just a bump.
Yeah. So, it was not that great.
It's a good concept, but it's not quite there.
9 mini games. 9?
Nay.
Nay?
Any.
And then you meet your girlfriend, N.I. That was her name. And you walk to school playing minigames.
Yes.
And they are a horrible collection of minigames.
Stab in the face.
Is there a good collection of minigames? No.
Not really, but these aren't even close to be considered for debate.
The art style was kind of cool on some of them, but yeah. It felt like a lot of overhead to get to what's essentially a minigame.
No, what I got frustrated with was they flash up the game, but they don't really... They had a 1 or 2 lines of what to do, but they didn't really explain the controls or sometimes the exact game. Because I got pissed when I missed the first burger one.
Yes,
because it said tomato. It said tomato, and then tomato was over on the side, and my cursor was in front of the tomato checklist thing, and it had a little arrow, so I hit A to check off tomato. I got the tomato and I need tomato, so check it off. I want it. And I was actually supposed to be tomatoes red, and I'm supposed to press B and just Simon says it, right?
Yeah.
But they don't set that up in the instructions. So that kind of frustrated me when she's like, you've lost. And I'm like, well, you suck ass. Tell me what the hell the game's supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they were going for the WarioWare thing where figuring out the game is part of the game, but...
That's all they got? Yeah.
I don't know.
I made it to the schoolhouse, and then I gave up. The next one is Motorbike Stunt Agent Julie. And you play a little motorbike with some Line Rider type control mechanics. So if you've ever played Line Rider, the Flash game, where you basically draw lines and the little dude sleds down the lines, but you got a real loose physics control. You don't actually control Line Rider. You just draw the course. So this one, the course is here, and you're actually playing on the little motorcycle with Julie there. You're like that, but you've got this really loose physics control, and you go through levels, and then on the path there'll be things to shoot essentially. Yeah,
so it's dual stick shooter, stunt driving. It's combining all these things. It seems to. It's pretty fun. It eases you into it. So,
it's okay.
Yeah,
and it has some dialogue and voice acting. So it's got a little story going on there, which looked a little interesting. The voice acting seemed to be okay. The woman doing the Julie's voice there's overdoing the accent a little bit, it was going so far. Yeah.
No, she doesn't actually say that. But
she doesn't say that, but
she comes close sometimes.
Yeah, she does in the full game. We did do video of that, so we got video coming out this week. Grav Arena is next, and we all know my position on asteroid-style control mechanics, which is fuck asteroid-style control mechanics. I hate that. Which this is what this is. This is a shooter in an arena with those kind of control mechanics. Now you can flip it over, I found, to easy control, which then you just push the direction you want to go. However, the physics of the ship is so loose that once I blasted towards the middle of the screen and then turned around to try to bring myself back to the middle of the screen, I couldn't throw enough thrust to start moving back to the middle of the screen before it hit the edge. And this game requires multiple players. There's no AI.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was done with it.
I was going to say, you can start a game
with one
player,
play by yourself.
but you just kind of like...
You can always play with yourself.
Oh,
But it's never as fun. Next one up translates to 3D ordered, but I think it's
Othello.
4 eyes line 3D is what it says on the box, but it's a Go in 3D. It looks like. I don't think it looked like Othello because it didn't flip. Again, though, this requires 2 players, so I really couldn't get an idea of what this game was, and it's a lot in Japanese, so wasn't getting the rules.
Unless you speak the language.
That was going in. So it looks like it could be a 3D game, 3D Go game, but it will require 2 players, so you need somebody else if you're going to check that out. Our last game up this week is Coagulate. This is another match 3 style game. And the twist here is you have to wait for a special shaped piece to come down to make that color match. Well, so you can actually build matches of like 20, all grouped and ready to go.
If you build like 2x2 or 2x3 structures, they actually coagulate into a single block, and that's how you get bonuses.
It's got to be a square though, otherwise it doesn't coagulate.
Right, but it doesn't have to be a square to be connected though. So, like, as long as they're touching, they're counting as connected. And then when you get the special little plus piece that matches that color, and you touch it anywhere, then it clears it. There's also a diamond piece that comes down every now and then that will clear that entire color from the map. We did video of this, so you'll see video. It's interesting. There's a twist to it, but I don't think it's working.
I think there's definitely some polish needed. Like the drops go so fast, and the way the pieces that clear your colors work, you kind of have to be very aware of where everything is, because you get the piece you need to clear real quickly. That moves quickly, but the gameplay as a whole seems to be very slow, and I never felt like I was just building single single matches every time. There was no big like combo,
No, I don't think you could chain combos. Well, you'd have to get the special piece to fall down in the chaining of combos on that. So, no, I don't think you could do that. So that wraps up our new releases for the week. For Game of the Week, let's see what's worth mentioning here. I'll go back over the ones that we did
video of.
Well, I won't mention Coagulate because we were just pretty hard on that, but that was one we did video of. Motorbike Stunt Agent Julie, talked a bit on that one. Pajamarama, Inferno, and Blow Me Up. Looks to be the running.
Ooh.
So, I was kind of bored in Inferno. Like, it wasn't grabbing me. It was neat, but it wasn't anything grabbing me. So I'm willing to cross that one off. So just to whittle down the list here. Pajamarama, it definitely was better with all of us playing at once. But then, like, almost anything you do, if you have a group of people playing together, gets better. Right. I mean, remember Insane Bash? You know,
If you're
Right.
competitive,
if you're
it's
competitive
fun.
and slightly drunk, anything is funny.
And you
So,
don't care whether you make your thumb sore the next day.
Yeah. There you go. Daddy's with busted
Pajamarama,
condom pulls in from the rear.
It actually got better once I figured out it really was trying to mimic a lot of Smash Brothers special moves and stuff.
So we got
Which-
that. Motorbike stunt agent Julie. I liked the little story that it had going, but the gameplay was kind of frustrating. Her bike was too loose to control
Yes.
to be enjoyable. Like trying to do a flip or a backflip was ridiculously hard, and that was like the basic stunt move.
I don't want to say ragdoll physics, but kind of that very loose feel.
Yeah,
to
it had that. So I'm willing to cross off motorbike stunt agent
Yeah.
Julie.
I would cross off Pajamarama because I'll be honest, there wasn't one game that's like this week that was like, yes, that is the style of game that, because usually there's one that it's a style of game I gravitate to, but
Yeah. So
decent games. Just I had the same problem with.
So
that
it's
one.
really down to, I guess, Pajanorama and Blow Me Up
Blow me up.
is where we're at. And I'm not a fighting game person, so I'm not going to really get behind a bad fighting game clone.
I'm not going to get behind something that there's no real character that I connect to. I want,
Yeah, because, I mean, they're really just... Well, they're not
They're
palette
women.
swaps.
They don't think. They don't have a personality.
Well, they don't. They have these vapid stares off in the distance.
That
it's
is
not
a
a
good
palette
woman.
swap
That is how a
between them?
woman should be.
It's not a palette swap between the characters. They do change their pajamas, but it might as well be a palette swap. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't seem to be any significant changes. Granted, we could play like two characters in the demo, but like scrolling through them.
There's the American one, the Asian one, the European one, and the other American
See,
one.
they should have taken a page from DOA where everybody has their own little reason for being in the tournament.
It's pillow fighting. People don't need a
And
reason
most
to
of the
do
reasons
that.
are daddy issues, but that's a separate
Yeah.
thing in there. So, are we going to blow one up? Are we going to blow me up?
I will agree with you, but I want to point out that you're going with a game that has the hideous blow up doll, as opposed to the game with the women with the vapid stares.
Well, one we know is not real, right? So, like, we
Right. When
don't. It's not a real object.
the devil you know.
I mean,
the
well,
devil
it
you don't.
has no feelings.
Right.
But we do have a question, though.
I beg to differ, so
we
the other
do
has
want
no
to know
feelings.
because Robot Platformer also used Post-it notes as a
Didn't we
tutorial
have this discussion
mechanic.
last
Yes.
week?
We had this discussion. No, not on the podcast. We had the discussion on the
Okay.
video just
That's
now.
right.
But we want to know who cloned who. Who?
He's never seen it, he says.
Because there's no such thing.
Well,
as
that's what he
two
would say.
ideas
Isn't that
coming
what
from the
somebody
same-
who cloned somebody else's idea say?
So basically, there's no defense. There's no way to.
No,
defend
this is
yourself.
indefensible.
If you deny it, you agree.
And it's not
If you
cloning of
agree
the
to it-
gameplay. It's just that two games back to back use Post-it notes on the screen.
Well, I mean, that's
now-
not so strange.
Now,
Letters.
Blow Me Up has love notes in the Post-it notes too, so it has instructions and love notes. And Robot Platformer is just the instructions.
Yes.
But so Avatar Zombie Massage Post-it note is where we need to go next. But okay, so congratulations, Stegosaurus Games. Blow Me Up is GameMarx Game of the Week, and I will definitely try to get that out Monday. I've slacked the last few Mondays. And not gotten the queue set up in time.
Well, I think something happened with the Blip TV account. Like it expired.
So let me
'cause I
ask
got-
you: do you read mail through a threaded client?
No, I do not.
So yours aren't threaded? You use like Thunderbird or something that doesn't
Nope.
thread?
Well, I first saw them on my phone, and then I've also got them in Thunderbird.
Okay, so on your phone they were threaded. So you basically
no, on my phone they were not.
they were
threaded.
not
It
threaded.
was just like
Don't you use Gmail on?
I do, but I may have it set up differently.
On my
Oh.
iPad, I've got like a diarrhea worth of.
So if you're on a thread, like my
Huh.
Gmail was threaded, like there was 3 messages
Version
because
notification.
it broke it across
Yeah.
3. It like put like 82 replies in one, 53 in the other, and 20. So here's what happened: the Blip TV account came up for renewal. And Blip TV we play with PayPal, and I hadn't updated my credit card in PayPal since it expired. and I work in New Jack City, so I'm not allowed to have a wallet with me at my day job. So before I was getting ready to go to the conference, right? Oh, fuck, I don't have a wallet. Crap, I need to go to the conference and do this. And then, I got to pack for the conference, got to get ready. So I forgot about it. Then our Pro account on Blip lapsed. And one feature of Pro is the high-def H.264 videos.
Oh.
So it technically hid those, right? It's kind of like Flickr. When your Flickr lapses, if you're on the free Flickr, you get 300 photos. If you're on Pro, you get as many as you want. If your account lapses, they keep all your photos. You just can't see them
past the first 100.
Yeah,
right.
So you can only scroll through 300. After that, you have to. And I think in your admin, you might be able to even download them or get them, but they don't show them public anymore until you pay again. Then they just all restore. So what those emails were is I paid when I remembered at the conference. I paid and I updated, and our account flipped back to Pro. Then it re-encoded, but what it really did is just restored the links to all the H.264 videos. But that triggered the email of like. Conversion complete, and we have like 200 videos now.
Yeah,
because you got an email from one of those. So like Willie called up too. Willie was like, "What the fuck is this blip shit?" All of my email because I know
he hasn't been on the email threads that long.
He doesn't use Gmail. I know he uses Outlook.
So he's not seeing it like he probably hasn't seen it as long as I have, where it's like, oh yeah, there's like going to be 20
I
of
think
these
he's seen a couple
in.
of the weekly 10 videos. But he thought, like, I just converted 200 at once. And he was like, look, if you're going to do that, I want off the list. Because he reads through Outlook, which, has, like, no nesting of threading or collapsing.
2010 does.
Oh, yeah, so he's on the Outlook Express or whatever comes with, so it's all, like, one-on-one messages, and he's popping them. So they're all, like, you have 300 messages, and you're popping them all down. I don't know why he's not, like, just, it's a Gmail account. Like, I don't know why he's not checking it on the web. Why he still clings to popping it, but yeah, he gave shit. So that's what happened on that. I don't think it actually affected the site. Like it looked like all our embeds worked through that, so that was good to know that all that continued to work. But it did hurt me because I couldn't send videos. I couldn't. If you're not Pro, you can't make videos private. But all our videos had gotten in private before we were Pro, so they stayed private. I just couldn't schedule them to go public because the menu feature was gone. So the menu feature was gone. Like I couldn't go in. I actually could not make them public. The actual menu feature to make them public was gone. It was grayed out. It's like, hey, you need to be Pro to do this. Like, no, I need to be Pro to make them private. They are private. I need to make them public. So I couldn't do that, and I also couldn't send them on the schedule, and I couldn't send them to YouTube, and I couldn't send them to the Facebook page.
Wow.
So all of those went today. Like I just got back from the conference and sent those all at once. And so we got like no views last week because almost everybody's watching us on YouTube. Nobody goes to the site.
Oh no, our dime.
We're not seeing a dime. I forget what the payout rate is on there, but yeah, we're not doing nearly enough. And we don't get paid for the views on YouTube. Like that doesn't count. So yeah, there's that. All right, anything interesting on chat before we get out of here?
We're talking about Assassin's Creed.
Oh yes, I'm now playing Assassin's Creedville. I'm farming my little stores and my shops. So I this is a series that I've never played. So I played 1, I played 2, and now I'm up to Brotherhood, the third one, and it's a damn good series. My complaint is that it's long, but I think that's because I play too many fucking indie games, and I now no longer have the stamina to play like a real game.
And you're playing 3 of these in a row, so...
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm playing them when I get a chance. So, okay. I mean, it's been over a month and a half to get through the first 2. And now I'm in the Brotherhood. But I noticed, like, Brotherhood has, like, this whole, like, economy system. You can buy shops, and the shops earn you revenue and things like that. So, like, I haven't even been doing any of, like, the story missions because I know how this stuff works, and I'm obsessive compulsive, so I'm going to get every shop making me money before I go on, so I just have this insane stream of money, so, like, I can immediately buy all the best armor, best weapons, best anything, and not one from the game. I'll find out later, probably, like, it didn't matter. But that's just the way.
Or something.
If there's a stat, I'm a min-max player. That's
well, I mean, you've got to get the achievements. I'm assuming, and that's
I'm
part
achieving
of the...
whoring number 1.
Yeah, one I did not. One I was like, fuck those flags. I'm not collecting
There's
that
only
shit.
20 flags in my CF, but there's 100 flags everywhere else.
Yeah. Like the first one was like 20. Like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe 100. No, fuck that. 100 per region. Definitely fuck that. Keep that achievement. And then like once I've said that, once I've like written off one, like I'm no longer gonna bother like looking at the list of the rest of them. You know, I'm either gonna I'm min max. I'm either gonna S rank the game and get them all, or I'm going to like just finish the game and settle with the 100. But 2, I finished with like 800 points. And that's the worst thing. When a game leaves me at like 800 of the 1,000 achievement points, you have to get the last 200.
There's only like 4 that he needed.
Yeah, but they were like all the collectible shit ones. So I was running around collecting the little fucking feathers and flags and
Yeah, he needed all the feathers so he could get the cape, so he could go into all the towns
and start the fights and
he had to throw sand in 4 people's face at once.
I've never played this game, so what you just said sounded crazy.
Did you play Prince of Persia?
I played Sands of Time.
Okay.
A little bit.
That kind of control mechanic, except you have.
Well, no, I know what it is. I'm just talking about the feather and the cape and the throwing sand.
Oh, well, I
in
was saying
people's
it's in an open world.
Okay.
And so when you scale and you climb all these things, and there'll be like a little feather on the top, and you're like, oh, you collect that feather for your dead brother. It all gets explained in the first one. Okay. They're a good set of games. They're worth playing, and it's highly satisfying to just knife somebody in the fucking pocket. Just walk up to them, like she starts begging for change for you. You know, like I'm poor, and I'm hungry and sick, and I haven't eaten. And I'm like, you know what?
Mercy killing.
Boom. Problem solved.
Wow.
You're none of those things anymore.
He was assassinating them. And then I told him, no, you have to push him down. You're supposed to push him down.
Yeah, be nice to them. Push them down.
You either give them money or push them down.
Right,
No,
yeah.
no. You
well, in
either
the second one, you
kill
can give them
or
money.
push them down.
In the second one, yeah, you can give them money. So really, it's like a metaphor. You can be a Democrat and throw money at the poor, or you can kill them off and be a Republican.
If you were poor that way...
You are solving the problem.
Either way, we're solving the poor problem.
Quote, unquote. At least as far as the statistics.
But there's like a strange satisfaction over, like, just doing that.
You
or
may be a sociopath.
She gets in your way. You just kind of push her out, push
Once
her
she
out,
started playing the game, then she started killing them. Then she was like, they get in your way. Fuck this.
Well, I mean, there are techniques to panhandling, and I guess there are techniques to dealing with panhandling.
In the
You're just
second,
using the
in the
extreme
second
ones.
I knew
Assassin's
it was
Creed,
horrid, but I still wanted to kill her.
in the second Assassin's Creed, you get dual blades, dual hidden blades. So you have a blade under each arm.
Yes.
And you can walk right in between 2 guards and stick your arm straight out and kill 2 at once, and then grab the neck of the guard in front of you and kill him before he has a chance to turn around, drop 3 guards, and walk away like nothing the fuck just happened. Well, everybody's like, what the hell is going on here? Isn't there a guard? Isn't somebody going to stop him? What's going on? And you're like, just walking the fuck out, bad motherfucker. You know, can't fuck with me.
I like it when he jumps down off of like a 2-story roof onto the back of 2 people.
Oh yeah, because they do all these like beautiful close camera kills. Assassin's Creed is the reason why indies should not make 3D games. Because the level of polish that is in this 3D game, like if I play your crappy 3D game, I'm just going to be thinking like, no man, Assassin's Creed, I get these kill shot views. Like you had this in Call of Duty, I think, too.
It's not just, the key to good 3D is not just the lighting and the quality of the graphics, it's the camera angles.
It's
basically.
camera angles, and it's the
things,
scripted events, and it's like there's so
cinematic
much that you need to... And it's blended in the game now. It's not like the cinematics are a special cutscene.
Yeah.
They're blended in the game. They fit in the gameplay. You're right in the middle of a fight of 20 guys, and it gives you a nice little cinematic of you just knifing somebody in the gut and watching him spill out all over the pavement and go down.
Altair was kind of mean. Ezio is definitely mean.
Well, I mean, Ezio, they killed his brothers and
his brother and his dad,
father, and he couldn't stop it.
It is now on.
He tried to get his mom and his sister. Dude.
I mean, Ezio has a vendetta. Altair was just kind of like raised as an assassin, and he has an attitude. In fact, that's the first game, is like humbling him. They do the abilities. Which is where they give you, this is a giant bomb term.
The ability, like where they give you
all your weapons at once and then take them away. So like
Okay.
you play for like a level or a scene with everything, and then they take them all away. But that scene also has like the little tutorial of like, oh god, the city's being overrun and there's just hundreds of people, and like run up to this guy and hit A. Boom, boom. Okay, you've killed him. Go over here and hit X to kick this guy, you know. And they run you through, and you kind of get the, and then they go and strip you of everything you have, and you have to rebuild. Are you still with us, Nate?
Yeah, I am.
I'm sorry.
It's
We went
kinda
off
like-
on a tangent.
We
Well, no,
got
so
going there, and
You guys started in on the new releases, and I haven't been picking up the indie games in a while. I actually kind of like gave away my Xbox when we were making PaperCraft because I didn't have time to play it. So
Wow.
I haven't played the games. So then it was just kind of like I think my brain got tricked into thinking I was just listening to the podcast. I was like, I could chime in. I've played Assassin's Creed 2, and I don't know. I just kind of let you guys go with it. Kind of watch some of the political chatter in the chat here.
What were your take? Did you play the first one too?
Played the first one, and I played the first one on PC, which I think is actually kind of better. And I don't say that because of the controls. I definitely played on PC with my Xbox controller, but the graphics, like, PC games have better graphics.
Well,
And then
It came.
And then-
when did it come to the PC? It didn't come at the same time, right?
I don't know. I picked it up on a Steam sale for $5, so I played it late.
Okay.
And then I'm not really in a big achievement whore, but I guess I was going through an achievement phase, and so I was like, oh man, I'm going to get 2 on the Xbox because I missed out on all those achievement points. And then, like, 2 was beautiful on PC, but it also had, Ubisoft's new, super DRM or whatever
Oh, that's right.
that
Yeah, it did.
is over your computer. So maybe it's better that I got an Xbox.
Yeah. So I did finish up 2, and I've started Brotherhood, and I will say, like, they get progressively better on streamlining the controls and the interface. And I knew that going in because I listened to the Giant Bomb, and they talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
And this is a game, if anybody's listening that they want to dive into this, if you're going to play 1, play it first. Don't pick up 2 and play it, because then, like, 1 is this awful. Like, I watched Cicely play 1, I'm like, oh, you can't, like, kill him from the roof. That bugs me.
One of my favorite killings from 2, I don't think you can do this in 1, but you're up on the rooftop, the guards are kind of spread out. So you hidden blade the first guard, and then that spooks the other one who's, like, on another rooftop, and you just, like, throw the throwing knife right at his throat.
Yes.
And like silence him from another rooftop. That's definitely my favorite killing in 2.
Yeah, it doesn't really spook them. It kind of alerts them, like, hey, he's an assassin!
Yeah, and you might have to do that to a couple guys. Like, you stab the first one, and then maybe you can charge at the second one, and then you got to throw a knife at the third one, and then everything's fine.
Pulling him off the roof is great as well. Like,
Oh
hanging
yeah,
from-
like when you're hanging there.
Yes, when you're hanging there and you just, like, 2 guards are walking and they're patrolling, and like, hey Dave, hey Bob, what's going on? Not much. Gonna go look over here. Okay, I'm gonna look over here. Dave, where'd Dave go? I don't know. I'll just keep walking around the roof here, Like, they don't... They have AI, like, if they see you do it, but they still have that, like, Metal Gear Solid style of, like, well, I didn't see him die, but...
He's not there.
He's not there. We're on the top of a fucking tower in the middle of nowhere. There's nowhere he could have gone. I mean,
If
it's
he
literally...
sees the body after you kill him, though, does that trigger?
Yes. Yeah, he
Okay.
sees the body. But he won't look over the ledge and see the body 20 stories down in the street, and everybody in the street screaming like, oh my god, what's going on here? Because they do
Call
that.
the guards!
Yes. Nope, the guards are oblivious. They're just doing their little pacing route. And now I haven't gotten to the point, but I've read, and I've heard on the Bombcast, that in Assassin's Creed 3, you can actually get to a point where you franchise. So you lead in a guild now. You lead an Assassin's Guild
In 3 or Brotherhood?
in Brotherhood. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, 3. Well, it's going to be Brotherhood, and then there's going to be Assassin's Creed : something else,
Okay, so they're moving off the...
Revelations?
Revelations or something, and that's
Okay.
going to be the Ezio trilogy. They've said, but they're not actually calling it 3 and 4. So I don't know if they're going to have like an Assassin's Creed 3, and let that start a new time.
Video games seem to be doing that, like where they don't number.
Well, it makes sense. So
like
in Assassin's Creed universe,
yeah,
you are playing a modern day assassin guy.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, with this little machine that can read memories, basically get you to relive memories. So you're reliving the DNA memories of your ancestors. So that's how they can change between assassins but keep the story together. So this one might wrap up the Altair and the Ezio threads, but the guy that you're playing, what is his name? Desmond. Desmond will go on in the games, but now you may go back to other of his ancestors and play. And that's kind of cool because it gives them, they can change settings.
And I believe from what I've heard about Brotherhood is they introduce the concept of like guilds. It expands out the world so they have other places to go.
So you run a guild, and apparently you're able to like walk down the street and then like call out a hit on somebody, and like assassins will emerge from the shadows and do the little assassination moves and then fade back into the crowd. Because like you're the leader of the guild now. That sounds so fucking awesome. I think I'm just gonna like do that to all the little beggars. Maybe I won't be allowed to do that.
Can you call them out on the beggars? Like, hey, let's clean up the streets, Brotherhood.
I mean, you probably can't. They actually cracked down on that more in 2 than in 1. Because like in 2, if you did like 2 assassinations on innocents, you desynced.
And it was pretty bad.
Basically, you lost all your life.
Already assassination and those stupid beggar ladies get in your way right as you're about to make the kill.
Yeah.
So you kill them. That makes sense.
No, because
that alerts.
If you're on a targeted assassination mission, that will draw attention to you, and you'll lose that mission.
So you're actually... That is the one case you don't kill them.
Yeah, you behave very, very good, because those can get frustrating to replay. I think at this point we're like in outtakes of the podcast or something.
Oh, yeah,
and the conversation in the chat room was on
also
Castlevania.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to go down the Castlevania path now. We'll let everybody get to bed at a decent hour. I want to thank Nate. Is it Vicinity Games or Vincity Games?
Vicinity Games. We picked a name that you can't say while you're drunk. That wasn't on purpose, but that's the case.
I want to thank you on the podcast. Thanks for coming out. Everybody, take a look at PaperCraft and see what these guys cranked out.
Go take a look at PaperCraft. The sales are still trickling in. I don't know. People are telling other people about it or something. We still get 1 or 2 sales a day.
Are you working on another Xbox Live title right now, or another XNA title or game?
Well, we kind of were for a while, and then the story basically goes that we were trying to build up. I know we're trying to end this podcast, but I'll try and wrap this up. That kind of how you mentioned earlier that XBlig, XNA can be kind of a stepping stone to platforms like Steam or like XBLA, and so we were kind of just trying to build a portfolio that would impress people, either like publishers like Microsoft Game Studios, or even just let Steam give us a chance to get a game on there. So I actually contacted Chris Charla at Microsoft Game Studios and was like, hey, like what kinds of things are you guys looking for? What should we be adding to our portfolio? And their response was more, well, what do you got? So we're actually going to make a run at getting some publishers. So we've been emailing. We've got kind of a game idea that I don't really want to talk about because games are never what you thought they were going to be in the start. So anything that I announce now is going to be completely different than whatever gets released. But yeah, so we're building a demo and we're going to shop it around. We're going to go down to Indiecade in LA. If there's any other indie developers, say hi to us. That's going to be in October. So we don't have anything announced. We're not going to release anything big onto XNA, onto XBlig, but we kind of feel like it's a pretty cool community, and we might make like some side projects or something, and to just kind of stick around.
All right. Well, excellent. All right, so thank you for coming on the show, and thank everybody for tuning in that tuned into the chat, and everyone for listening. Let's do this again in about a week.
Night, everybody.